Hey guys, LF Super 17's abilities are now posted on the official Dragon Ball Legends website, so we're going to go through these together. Initial impressions here, obviously we don't know what he does besides what they showed off in the Twitter preview yesterday, which looked pretty toxic, but we'll go ahead and see what we're working with here. Okay, so as I usually do, I will read the yellow text because it gives us insight into their design philosophy behind the character a lot of the time. So Legends Limited Super 17 is here with the means to unleash a fierce assault through absorbing ki blasts to activate powerful effects. Strength number 1, powerful effects activate by absorbing ki blasts. Use special arts to absorb your opponent's ki blast attacks. Upon activation, your unfavorable element factors will be nullified. I guess you use type neutral. And if absorption is successful, the enemy's vanishing gauge will be reduced to 0 and you'll inflict them with no switching. That is so ridiculously toxic. That is so toxic, man. Your own vanishing gauge will also be recovered by 100%, so you can really let them have it. So you remove their vanishing gauge, and you get your vanishing gauge back, and they're locked in. Okay, it's pretty good so far. For him, I guess. Strength number 2, strong offense via blast arts in the unique gauge. Okay, so based off of the wording, it obviously sounds like they're gearing him more towards being a blast character, which I would probably argue is better slightly. It's probably going to be a little bit worse overall for Powerful Opponent. Powerful Opponent is definitely more of a strike team. Android's definitely more of a blast team. And GT can kind of go either way. So right now, the current team you're going to be using with GT is Pan, the new Goku, the Spirit Bomb Goku, and Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta definitely is slightly more strike leaning. Pan is going to be the one who gets replaced on the team for Super 17. And we don't know how good the Bulla Vegeta character is going to be either, so they're kind of up in the air as well. But the Goku, the Spirit Bomb Goku, can be built to be Strike or Blast. So this guy being Blast isn't really that big of a deal. I think the biggest loser... well, I don't want to call him the biggest loser, but the character that I think wins the least from this release on GT is probably Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, because he would prefer if the team is built Strike, but he can function either way. He's more of a defensive unit anyway. Okay, so he has Blast Arts with 170% blast damage inflicted against Blast Armor. So you just have the anti-Blast Armor ability. Recovers ki and buffs special move arts damage inflicted when using Blast Arts. Buffs special move damage. Okay, so it's like, it sounds like a stacking thing there. When the unique gauge is full, it resets to 0 and nullifies the enemy's special cover changes. Okay, so we know his unique gauge. At this point, we should probably just expect every single like major release LF plus Ultra character to have a unique gauge, what they're going for, right? Plus, your attribute downgrades and abnormal conditions will be canceled, and you'll draw a Blast Arts card, so your offense can just keep going. All right, a lot of stuff he gets from Blast cards. And then strength number 3, powerful counterattack capabilities after special cover change. After activating a special cover change against a strike arts, you'll draw an ultimate. You can even deal damage to enemies on standby. So by unleashing your ultimate arts on an enemy with an advantageous element, you can deal huge damage to all of your opponent's characters. Okay, so it's an AoE ultimate. Interesting. So if you guys remember back to the original green Super 17 that came out really long time ago, he actually provided an AoE paralysis to the enemy team when you land his ultimate. He paralyzed the entire enemy team. Use Legends Limited Super 17 to nullify your enemy's attacks and give them a run for their money. We know he is red, which is actually probably the best typing he could have been. So I have his different teams pulled up here. We have GT, Androids, and Powerful Opponent. GT doesn't really have a great red character. We did get Omega Shenron Zenkai, but obviously it's now very apparent that he was Zenkai'd to help out Super 17. We have the Ultra Omega Shenron, who they refuse to give a unique equipment for, so he's kind of not great to use right now. I would actually argue like this Omega is pretty good by himself. A lot of times Zenkai characters these days are just intended to be bench units, which is obviously what this guy is intended to be now that we know that we're getting a red LF character for the team. But I actually do like this red Omega Shenron a lot. He brings a lot of tools to the table that not a lot of like 1% Zenkai characters do. So I think he's actually pretty good, but clearly he's not going to make the cut over 17. This red Vegeta just got his unique equipment, but he's not competing with the best characters. This Goku's old, not good anymore. Androids, we have nothing. Androids has this guy, the 17 and 18, who, I mean, once upon a time were just like beyond the best character in the game. It was like not even close. I don't anticipate they're going to get a unique equipment or a Zenkai anytime soon, so the androids team definitely can use a new red character. Transforming Cell, I probably should revisit him because I haven't used him or fought him in months. But there's no way that he's going to be even close to as good as this Super 17. So a Blast character for androids definitely fits the team. Cell is Blast based, Blue 17 is Blast based, the Gammas are Blast. Like, this is a Blast team, so that's good. And then for powerful opponent, I mean, I would say this is probably the team that probably gets impacted the least by this guy's release. It is more of a strike team, and we already have decently powerful character. Like, Hit is still good. Piccolo Jr. is okay. I mean, I don't think Piccolo Jr. is going to be better than the Super 17, but at least he's like a newer red character for the team here. But it's nice to get more options for powerful opponent as always. All right, let's head back over here. So let's see what we are dealing with. Your main ability, greatly recover your health and ki and draw the Ultimate Arts card, Flash Bomber. What's more, Super 17 will get a buff that reduces enemy damage cut effects based on how many are left. The fewer the enemies, the greater the buff, so you can do some real damage. So they're building this interesting dynamic for GT, right? Because if you guys remember back to what the Spirit Bomb Goku does, Spirit Bomb Goku also gets more powerful effects on his main ability the less opponents there are left. So now we have Super 17, who also has a similar thing to Goku as well. So whenever you're like, and don't forget, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is drawing an ultimate when there's one enemy left. So they're really trying to set this team up to be like the ultimate finishing team, where like you kill one of the opponent's characters, and then from that point the team is just going to snowball with all these additional effects. Interesting. I kind of think that's something different, so sure. Okay, so randomly destroys one of your own cards and draws the Ultimate Arts card, Flash Bomber next. Restores own health by 30% and ki by 50. Inflicts all enemies that were downgrade plus 20% of damage received. For 50 count, that's a long time. Okay, and it's a good thing it's all enemies. And then, yes, finally. Okay, so my biggest pet peeve with the minus card draw speed debuff effect that we're seeing on a lot of characters these days is that they only apply a lot of times to the character that's currently switched into the battlefield. And what's going to happen is you're going to apply the card draw speed down effect, and the opponent is simply just going to switch, and it's not going to do anything. So the fact that this is applying to all enemies is really strong, and for 20 counts, that's like a lot. That's a decently long period of time for this, so that's a very good effect. Also applies the following effects to self according to the number of remaining enemy battle members. So against a full team, he's getting minus 30%. Against 2 enemy battle members left, he's getting 40%. And if he's fighting one enemy, he gets minus 70% to enemy sustained damage cut effects for 10 counts. So you can kind of pop this and then chain in a few cards before you actually use the ultimate to gain more value off of the buff here. Okay. Z ability is at 14 stars. Android's GT powerful opponent, blast attack and strike defense. Okay, so they're sort of mix and matching the like blast offense plus strike defense, sure. And then GT blast defense during battle. The strike card, impact, inflicts all enemies that we downgrade plus 10% damage received for 10 counts. That's pretty strong. The entire team gets hit with this every time he lands a strike card. And then for blast, we already know that it does have an anti-blast armor effect, 170%, which I assume is the same. I think it's the same as all the other characters that have this, right? So if we go to like the Gammas have this as well. I believe it's 170% for them, but let me just quickly double check. I think it's the same number. No, it's not this. Oh, it's actually stronger. The Gammas are at 150. Does Cell have this too? This Cell? I always feel like the Cell does a lot of damage to blast armor. 150. Okay, so actually I was wrong. This guy's actually getting more blast armor damage than what we normally see. 170. So Cell is 150, the Gammas have 150, this guy's 170. Okay, he's going to be doing a lot of damage to blast armor. The blue card, by the way, the reason why this is so good too is because if you quick attack somebody and throw a blast card, like they're going to be very hesitant to just blast armor through it a lot of the time. Of course, they can still rising rush you through it, but you know, a lot of times what I'm scared to do is I'm scared to quick attack and blast somebody because if they're a blast armor character, which most characters have blast armor somewhere, whether it's on their strike or their blue card, a lot of times it's not worth risking that, right? So with this guy, it's a little less risky because if they use their blast armor through this, like they're probably just going to take so much damage where they might just die from it. So that is something to remember here. All right, so the blue card, when activated, this special move will recover a key and seal one of the enemy's cards. You also inflict all enemies with substitution counts on hit. Okay, so even when the enemy on the battlefield is on the verge of defeat, your opponent won't be able to switch to another character. So we do know this is a melee blue card, which most characters these days, when they come out, are getting melee blue cards. But the thing is with this guy is, of course, he is more of a blast character, is what it sounds like. We'll have to see the stats to really understand how much of a one-sided character we're looking at here. But this might not do that much damage, because a lot of times when you have these melee blue cards like this, they scale off of strike attack. So we'll see what we're working with when we see the stats later on. But massive impact damage, falling effects occur upon activation, restores own key by 30, seals one enemy card randomly. The sealed card cannot be used for 10 counts, and then on a hit, he is drawing a green card, and he's inflicting all enemies with 3 sub-counts. Yeah, so a powerful thing you can do with locking in. This is the same exact effect that Revival UI has in its pre-revive state, this right here. You can land this card on an enemy. They're locked in for 3 counts. You can follow this up immediately with a blast card, and if they vanish, you can just Rising Rush them a lot of the time. That's a pretty powerful thing that this effect has here. All right, let's move on to the green card. I think this is where we're going to see some toxic stuff, but let's go ahead and see what they say here. So the special arts is what makes Super 17 stand out. Yeah, I mean, the same thing can be said with a lot of characters these days. These green cards, Goku and Bardock, I mean, yeah, a lot of the times the green card is what makes these characters who they are, as it allows you to absorb Ki Blast attacks. Just by activating it, your unfavorable element factors will be nullified and the enemy's Rising Rush will be sealed. Okay, so it sounds actually very similar already to Ultra Vegito Blue's green card counter. If the absorption is successful, the enemy's vanishing gauge will be reduced to 0 and all enemy characters will be inflicted with no switching. That means if you pull off an absorption, you can launch a devastating counterattack and overwhelm your opponent. Okay, so absorbs enemy Ki Blast attacks. The following effects occur upon activation. It nullifies own unfavorable element factors for 10 counts, reduce enemies' ki by 50, seals all enemies' main abilities and Rising Rush for 5 counts. Seals the mains. Let me actually pull up Vegito here real quick. I just want to, because I know Vegito seals Rush and he goes type neutral, I believe, on the green card activation. 10 counts, he's healing, and he's sealing the Rising Rush. Okay, so yeah, he doesn't seal mains, right? Yeah. Reducing ki by 50 is insane, by the way. The Vegito doesn't do that. Yeah. Because basically what they're trying to do here is these effects that are activating upon you using, because this is not even when you absorb the ki, this is just when you use the green card. This is basically a hedge against you missing. Right, so let's say your opponent goes for like a tackle or something, and you anticipate they were going to go for a blast, and you press the green card. Like, you're going to be reducing their ki by 50, sealing their rush and their main ability, and going type neutral for 10 counts, regardless of whether or not you actually successfully absorb a ki blast. So this is basically just a hedge against your counter not absorbing a ki blast, and that is reducing ki by, that's insane. Reducing ki by 50 just by pressing this. Okay. And then the following effects occur when absorption is successful. By the way, we're going to have to see what the timing is on this. I believe with the existing green Super 17, which, again, he's like 500 years old now, so I'm not going to use him as a base to judge this. His animation is very, very long. So if you miss, like if you press the green card with Super 17 and you don't absorb a Ki Blast with him, he's like wide open to be hit. And I'm assuming this one will be a little bit less of an open window. I'm thinking, so if you guys are familiar with Transformed Orange Piccolo's green card counter, like window, it's probably going to be something similar to that, where you only have a very short period of time to react to a missed attempt at a counter from him. So I assume that's what we're going to be seeing here as well. All right, so the following effects occur when absorption is successful. Restores own vanishing gauge by 100%, activates 3 times. 3. Okay, 100% to own unique gauge charge rate for 5 counts. Okay, we don't know what his unique gauge does, so I can't really comment on that as of now. 50% to blast arts damage inflicted for 10 counts. That's a lot. 50%. Reduce enemies ki by 50. Okay, so if you absorb successfully a Ki Blast, you are reducing their ki by 100, because you're reducing it by 50 upon activation and then 50 when you absorb it. So okay, and they're going to have 0 vanish and they're going to be locked in. Okay. Again, we're not going to be able to really make a ton of comments on this. Like, oh my god, this means you're going to guaranteed be able to Rising Rush or anything. Like, we'll have to see how it plays out, because like the timing on this animation could be strange, right? So even though you absorb a Ki Blast and you lock them in, you reduce all their ki and you reduce their enemy vanishing gauge, like there could be a situation where like there's like a cooldown period in between you actually like absorbing the Ki Blast and between when you can actually like control your character with Super 17. I'm not sure if there's going to be like a buffer period in between those. If there is, it will give your opponent at least some time to be able to quick attack you before you can react, which probably is something that would be good because it sounds ridiculously toxic. But we'll have to see. I'm not going to be able to comment on this or how ridiculous this is going to be until we actually see this in game, because of the timing. We don't know how the timing works with this animation right now, but it sounds absurd. And the only thing with this too is I mentioned this in the video yesterday when they showed him for the first time, when they revealed him for the first time, but this is just going to promote extremely passive gameplay because of how rewarding this is. Like, look how rewarding this is. This is insane. You use the green card and you absorb a Ki Blast, you get all this. Like, it's ridiculous. By the way, you're going type neutral offensively with this as well. It's not just defensively. So if you absorb a Ki Blast, like this guy's red, if you absorb, let's just say you absorb a Ki Blast from the Goku side of Goku and Bardock, you're going to be going type neutral against Goku and Bardock, even offensively. So this looks insane. I'm a little bit nervous because we just had Ultra UI Goku dropped, and you guys know that UI Gokus promote extremely passive gameplay. And now we're going to get this guy who's also probably going to promote extremely passive gameplay. So there might be a lot of sitting in the back doing nothing fights coming up soon, but we'll have to see. All right, and then the ultimate. With this ultimate arts, you can inflict an amazing half of the damage inflicted onto enemy standby characters on hit. Half. I think typically it's less than that. Because the wording typically on these is it's like a portion of the damage is inflicted to enemies on standby. They usually don't specify how much. Meanwhile, the effects of this arts become even greater the fewer enemy characters there are. Okay. So do you do you want to use it early and seriously weaken the enemy party, or do you want to wait until their numbers are down to deal a finishing blow? It's up to you. Yeah, so this synergizes, of course, with the main ability effect. And again, it is the same theme that we've seen with other GT characters, you know, GT, Spirit Bomb Goku, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, who gain extra abilities and mechanics when the enemy has less, when the enemy team has less battle members remaining. All right, so massive damage. So they did not go with Supreme. Okay. It's probably because he can do it multiple times. I just want to quickly check, does this Goku do Supreme? I believe he does, but let me just see. It is, yeah. So Super 17 does massive, which again, it's because he could probably because he could draw multiple ultimates in the fight. Applies the following effects: self-pun activation, restores ki by 30, nullifies enemies, restore health and energy. Okay, so he nullifies endurance. And then according to the number of enemy battle members remaining, so he goes 20%, 40%, 70%. It's ultimate damage inflicted. I would assume this guy's going to gain some kind of ultimate damage buff from his unique gauge, but we'll see. Falling effects occur on hit. Draws a special arts card next. Oh my god, he's drawing green cards from so many different things. He's drawing a green card when he lands a blue card, and he's drawing a green card when he lands an ultimate, and he can draw multiple ultimates. Half of the damage inflicted will also be dealt to enemy members on standby. Yeah, it typically doesn't specify that. Usually it just says a portion. This one actually says half. And then it has blast armor. Okay. Alright, let's move on to the unique abilities here. When using blast arts, you'll get an increase to your special move damage inflicted, and on hit, you'll randomly seal one of your opponent's cards. Okay. Keep on using blast arts as you find the best plan of action. Plus, when you land certain tap actions, like quick attacks or tap shots, the enemy's strike and special move arts will be sealed. Huh. That is a new mechanic? Yeah, it sounds like one. We'll see what the wording actually is. Combine this with your ability to absorb Ki Blast attacks to prevent your opponent from attacking. Yeah, that's not... Yeah. You guys think this is a good phrase to have? To prevent your opponent from attacking. Thanks. That's the kind of game I want to play. Yeah, you just don't get to attack. Nice, man. Why would they put this here? It just sounds so toxic. Okay. Applies the following effects to self when battle starts: 100% damage, 70% reduced damage received, card draw speed, and cost reduction for blast, special move, and ultimate. Okay, pretty good baseline there. Applies the following effects to self when this character enters the battlefield. He gets 30 key, 90% damage. Okay, so he's already at 190% damage. And 400% to amount unique gauge is charged by the next arts card used. What is this even talking about? To amount unique gauge is charged by the next arts card used. Okay, so his unique gauge sounds like it's going to be based off of attacking. And the first card you use. And the first card you use every time you switch in with him is going to be a 4 times multiplier for how much it charges the gauge, I assume, but we'll see. Applies the following effects to self every time this character uses a blast arts card. Restores key by 10, 15% to special move damage inflicted, activates 3 times, that's permanent, so that goes up to 45%, and then 20% to key recovery. So we can actually get up to 80% pure permanent key recovery, which is really insane. So he's going to have 80% key recovery. He's going to get 10 key back whenever he uses a blast card, and he has minus 10 to blast cost. Okay. Following effects occur upon landing a blast arts hit. Seals 1 enemy card slot randomly for 10 counts? The following effects occur upon landing a blast arts hit. Seals 1 enemy card slot randomly. The sealed card slot cannot be used for 10 counts. Okay. Inflicts all enemies with attribute downgrade minus 80% to health restoration for 3 timer counts. That's really good against endurance, obviously. This just sounds ridiculous. The only thing to note about this is that, of course, you can seal, like it says randomly. You can, like, let's say you land 5 blast cards. Technically speaking, all 5 of those blast cards could randomly seal the same slot 5 times. In that case, it's not that crazy, but this to me sounds absurd. Like it actually, like if you have 4 blasts in your hand, a Super 17, and you just like push them all in a row and you just rapid fire the 4 blasts, like your opponent's not gonna be able to play the game, pretty much, right? Okay. The following effects occur upon landing a tap attack. 3rd attack. Oh, so okay, yes. So that's it. Yeah, this is it because this is a new mechanic. We've never seen this worded before in a unique ability ever. So when they say 3rd attack, there's 3 parts to a tap attack. But when it says tap attack, it means a tap punch attack, not a tap blast. Tap shot is a tap blast. Tap shot, I guess, is what the official wording for that is. Tap attack is a tap punch. There are 3 separate tap punches. There's like the first short one. There's the second one, and then there's the third one. I mean, if you guys play the game, you know what I'm talking about. So this only activates the seal when you land that 3rd one, okay? And then quick attack hit. 50% to own unique gauge charge rate for 10 counts. Okay, so he actually gets charge rate increase from landing a quick attack. Seals enemy strike and special move arts, and the sealed arts cannot be used for 2 counts. You know what's funny about this is like actually really good design. This is actually really good design. Remember earlier when I said even though this guy has a lot of extra damage against blast armor, a lot of the times I'm really hesitant to follow up on a quick attack because of the fact that they can just blast armor through the blast card a lot of the time. So not only are they not going to be able to, or not only are they going to be disincentivized to do that because of the extra damage to blast armor, they literally can't. Because they're going to have their strike and special move cards sealed. Special move usually has blast armor, strikes usually have blast armor. They can still rising rush you, so that's the one thing to be aware of with this guy. But in like the first 20 counts of a fight, if you quick attack and then follow that up with a blast with this guy, like they can't do anything. They have to, you have to dodge. You actually have to dodge. So this, I'm going to go ahead and make a very bold claim This is like the best designed portion of a unique ability that we've seen in months. This is really good. This is a really good thing for the game right here. I really like that. And this is I mean, I could go into a full-fledged discussion about this, which I won't do because we're already 25 minutes in here. But this is something that I've been discussing for a long time. Remember when they buffed the damage of quick attack? And I said that this is not going to change anything because the quick attack damage is not the portion of the mechanic that has a problem. The problem with quick attack is the fact that it's too hard to follow up a quick attack with another card, with a strike, with a blast, because your opponent has too many ways to deal with it. There's too many things your opponent can do to either, you know, counterattack your quick attack follow up or simply get an advantage because you like a lot of times you quick attack and follow up with an attack and you lose because of it. So the fact that they're giving this guy a specific ability that's going to allow him to sort of bypass that hurdle, I think this is a really, really good change. This is actually, I'm very excited by this. And that's really not what I was expecting to see, because typically with Super 17, we like to see people sitting back and doing nothing. But this, I think, is going to incentivize people to actually be a little bit more proactive than we would expect with this character, which is very, very good. This actually has me pretty excited. I really like this a lot. Okay. Unique ability number 2, Super 17 has a special cover change against strike arts. And when it's activated, you'll draw the Ultimate Arts card, Flash Bomber. If you can nail the special cover change, you'll also be able to use your Ultimate Arts early in battle. Okay, and it sounds like I just took a peek down here. You can actually combo the cover change with the ultimate. That's insane. Once the unique gauge is full, it will reset to 0. Your opponent's special cover changes will be nullified, and you'll draw a Blast Arts card. Make Blast Arts your focus as you keep building up that unique gauge and unleash a devastatingly fierce attack. In addition, when your opponent activates a special move, Ultimate Arts, Awakened Arts, or Rising Rush attribute upgrades will be canceled. Okay, so he has a similar thing to Goku and Super 17 and Kid Buu. A lot of these characters, like a lot of releases, are getting this mechanic now. We've seen a lot of characters get this, where the enemy activates a blue card or whatever, and you're removing their buffs and stuff. This is honestly, I think, this is I think a product of them messing up with Gogeta Blue and Vegito Blue's Rising Rush, Endurance Nullifying Rising Rush ability. Like, it's just way too strong. Like, it's way too good. So they have now, at this point, that now they are forced to give all these releases like immunity through this effect. Okay. That makes Super 17 an excellent partner for characters with endurance effects, such as the Super Ultra Spirit Bomb wielding Legends Limited Goku. Yeah, gotta plug that character in here. But it's true. Yeah, any endurance character is not gonna be killed. So even if, like, I don't know, UI Goku pops his main ability and then ultimates you, you can switch to an endurance character and they won't have their endurance nullified by that. All right, so we know that he can now chain his ultimate in with the cover change, which seems insane. Randomly destroys one of your own cards and draws your card, Flash Bomber, when performing a special cover change. Activates once, thank God. Charges own unique gauge every time this character uses an arts card while they're on the battlefield. And then he gets, again, don't forget, multiple ways to increase the charge rate of this. Whenever he lands a tap attack or a quick attack, he does this. The first card that he uses per switch in is going to give him 4 times the amount that he would normally charge up the gauge with, which is really good. And then I think the other one was when he absorbs the green card. 100% for 5 counts after absorbing a Ki Blast with the green card. Okay. Once the unique gauge is full, it resets to 0 and the following effects occur. It draws a Blast Arts card next. Restores health by 10% and Ki by 40. 25% to damage inflicted for 50 counts. 50. This guy is entering the battlefield with 190% damage. And he gets 50% when he absorbs a card with the green card. He gets Cover Null for 5 counts. Okay. I think we can live with that. If this was like 10 or 15 counts, this would be a different story, but I can live with 5. Cancels own attribute downgrades in normal conditions. Reduce enemies' Dragon Balls by 1. Activates 3 times. We're going to have to see how much this actually charges the unique gauge every time he uses a card. I'm not entirely sure. It just says charges. It doesn't say how much. If we take a look at, let me just go to like this guy as the first. This is the same style of unique gauge as this guy. Let's see. Where is this? Charges on unique gauge when you use an arts card. It's the same wording as Ultra Super Gogeta, so I'm tempted to just think that this is going to be the same, which is insane because if he gets 4 times the unique gauge charge rate for his first card used every time he switches in, like you're basically going to be guaranteed filling up his unique gauge every time the first card you use, which means you're going to get Cover Null, you're going to get a blast card, you're going to get extra damage, you're going to heal, you're going to get key. Like, this is insane. The following effects occur every time the enemy uses... How long is this? The following effects occur every time the enemy uses an arts card while this character's in the battlefield. Randomly draws at most 3 new cards. What? Okay. Restores own health by 3%. Inflicts all enemies with attribute downgrade +2 to all arts costs. So... I'm sorry to like keep going to other characters to pull them up, but it's like I have to show how ridiculous these mechanics are. Let me see if I could find... This is the wrong thing. I just want to go to normal characters here. Where's Rakumen Gold? Oh, here we go. This is a better version of this, is it not? Applies the following effects every time when hit with an enemy's arts attack while this character is in the battlefield. Restores health by 3%, activates 5 times. The following effects occur every time the enemy uses an arts card. Restores on health by 3%. Like, what is this? Following effects occur when enemy switches characters while this character is in the battlefield. Draws a blast card, gets 30 key, goes type neutral defensively, and then he reduces enemy key by 20, and then all enemies get +2 to sub count. Cancel enemy buff effects every time the enemy uses a special move arts card while this character is in the battlefield. Alright, sure. Following effects occur when enemy activates an ultimate arts, awakened arts, or rising rush. Shortens allies sub count by 5. Minus 50% to ultimate and awakened arts power for 3 counts, and cancels buff effects. This guy's looking like... this guy actually probably is like a top 3 unit in the game. Like, I don't want to judge too hard until we actually use him, because it's like there's way too much going on with all these mechanics here for me to be able to say like, all right guys, this is exactly the number 2 unit in the game. Like, I can't do that. But GT needed a big time monstrous release, and they definitely got it with this guy. I mean, there's a lot of annoying things with this kit. I think this, in combination with the fact that he's getting Cover Null and a card and HP and key and damage and all these different things, basically guaranteed for using a card, on top of the fact that he has like one of the most annoying green cards probably ever, like, that's bad. But there is a shining light to this character, which is this. I really do like this, and I hope they really do look at this, and at least not the same exact mechanic maybe, but something that resembles this and promotes some sort of proactive, aggressive style of gameplays would be very good for the game. Weaving this kind of thing into the kit of an individual character, I think, is actually really smart. And if we see a big time release, like let's say the 6th anniversary headlining character has an effect that is like this, this could be really good. Like, this single-handedly might be what we're looking for in terms of changing the way that battles are fought. A lot of times, you know, at least in the current meta, we see the same team: UI Goku, Goku, and Bardock, and you know, Pikkon or whoever the 3rd character is, and it's like you're just never able to start combos with a high enough rate to be able to actually finish the match before timer runs out. And it's just boring. Like, the amount of times you're actually spending in a fight comboing the opponent or getting comboed by the opponent is very, very low compared to how much time you're spent just doing nothing in the match. So having stuff like this is really good. So anyway, that is my 34-minute breakdown video for Super 17. He seems insane. He actually really does seem insane to me. This is a very good sign for Android main players, and then GT players as well. Powerful opponent, if we decide to go a bit more blast oriented for powerful opponent, he'll be good for them as well. But we'll have to wait and see how good this guy's stats are. That should be obviously tomorrow. The banner is going to be tomorrow, and we don't know how good the Bulma and Vegeta are either, so we'll see that tomorrow. But let me know what you guys think. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next one.